Death, treachery, and jail time seem to follow Lil Durk's crew, but don't take my word for it. From his own brother's death to his own blood allegedly snitching on him to multiple members on the run, it seems like everything is happening to the OTF crew. If you're wondering, here's what happened to some of his deadliest affiliates. King Von was only 26 years old and Chicago's rising star, straight out of OBL, a place known for producing some of the most genuine voices in drill music. Von's life took a tragic turn on November 6, 2020, when he was out at a club in Atlanta when things escalated with rapper Quando Rondo's crew. What began as an argument turned into a full-on shootout. Shots rang out, and when the smoke cleared, King Val was killed. Von's music was so real that it immediately connected with people. He had this raw energy and a talent for turning street life and pain into something poetic. His first album, Welcome to Our Block, put him on the verge of greatness. The news was devastating, but his friends couldn't simply move on from V's death, especially not his mentor and close friend Lil Durk. Durk had signed V to his label Only the Family OTF, and they had always been close, almost like brothers. When Von's life was taken, rumors began to circulate that Durk and his OTF crew wanted retribution, and this is where the drama really starts. 2 years after Von's death, Durk's name is in the news once more, but not for his music. The feds have him on. Prosecutors have serious charges that he placed a bounty on Quando Rondo's head in a revenge plot for what happened to V and PS Von. They say this wasn't just talk. They have witness credit card records and an FBI agent's affidavit stating that Durk and 5 other OTF members plan to pursue Quando. Now, let's look at what happened in 2022. Those 5 guys allegedly traveled to LA with a deadly plan, but they didn't end up getting Quando. Instead, they ended up getting Q's cousin Love. Was killed in a car that was intended for him. Durk and those 5 OTF members are now being charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire, and the feds say they used machine guns in the attempt. As if the situation wasn't already intense, Quero released a song over the weekend called Life Goes On, in which he is haunted by the loss and raps lines like "I never thought I'd see your name next to R" on social media. He also posted a message on social media saying though he didn't specifically mention Durk or OTF, he did pray for everyone and forgive those with whom he had a falling out. V's death and the tension that followed didn't end with him. It's been more than 2 years, but the scars are still there, and the fallout from that night in Atlanta continues to spiral for V's friends in the industry. It's evident that even though his music endures, the ghost of that night continues to haunt everyone involved, and death seems to come for them just as it did for Lil Durk's brother D. The scene was chaotic on that June night outside Club O, a strip club in South suburban Harvey. According to reports, there were multiple gunshots with weapons going off from different directions, and Dang, 32, was caught in the crossfire and fatally shot in the head while a member of his circle was killed. His brother Dante Banks, also known as D-Thing, was one of the closest people to Durk, and his tragic death in 2021 really showed the violence that frequently surrounded Durk's only family OTF crew. The death of Dang was a devastating blow to Durk, especially since there were rumors of gang retaliation circulating immediately after his murder. A few hours later, another fatal shooting occurred, allegedly in response to Dang's murder, which further fueled the cycle of violence and loss. To make matters worse, street rumors blamed a man named Stephen M. for Dang's death, whether out of grief, anger, or a desire for justice. After rumors began that Durk had placed a bounty on Max's head, Mac was shot dead outside the Youth Peace Center of Rosen in Chicago on January 7, 2022. According to reports, a gunman jumped from a car as Mac was leaving the center, killing him instantly. A security guard was also shot during the exchange but was lucky to survive. Authorities quickly linked 2 men, Anthony Montgomery Wilson and Preston Powell, to the killing and charged them with murder for hire. Montgomery Wilson's legal team entered a not guilty plea, setting the stage for what could be a protracted legal battle as they attempt to refute the prosecution's evidence. Meanwhile, Powell remains at large, with law enforcement actively looking for him. Next, another OTF affiliate is involved in a murderous scheme. Okay, so here's the whole story about OTF Buwai and the bizarre situation he found himself in. Real name Michael L. Golden is one of Lil Durk's most trusted men, frequently referred to as his mud brother and regarded as someone who would intervene on Durk's behalf, as in that viral video where he prevented an overzealous fan from approaching too closely during a performance. But street ties and Bua loyalty come with risks, and it all came crashing down one day at Cumberland Mall in Atlanta. Here's what happened back in March 2021. Bua was involved in a violent scene at the mall's parking lot. According to reports, he got out of an SUV and began shooting at another car, causing chaos among shoppers and families, and then there was a shootout which tragically claimed 4 lives. getting struck, including a 6-year-old boy who was wounded by a stray bullet. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but consider that a child was hurt in the midst of all of this. It was a startling scene, and it put Bua in a very serious situation right away. Now, the worst part is that Bua left his phone at the scene by mistake. Police discovered it, obtained a search warrant, and searched it. They then used his social media activity to link him to the shooting. This was no small case either. Felony charges of aggravated assault with intent to murder, and to make things worse, 3 other men, Kiranji Rejava Harris and Danon Powell, were also arrested on gun and drug-related charges. Fast forward to August 2022, when Buona is sentenced to 8 years in prison for a separate gun charge in Illinois. You might think he'll be behind bars for a while, but in November 2023, he's out of jail after serving only 15 months of his 8-year sentence. In the Chicago drill scene, Justin Mitchell wasn't just any rapper, he was an OTF member close to Lil Durk and building a reputation. However, with the Chicago street life constantly following him, his story took a dark turn, landing him in a place no one wants to end up in. There are questions about whether he cut some sort of deal or if this was a setup. Whatever happened behind the scenes is shady, and Bua still has the Atlanta case hanging over him waiting to play out, but at least he isn't being attacked by Lil Durk. Imagine Halloween night 2017 when instead of costumes and parties, just Blow 600 was with 2 other people, Paradise Hayes and Lucky Tyler, who were allegedly planning to rob a man named Kil Carter in Hammond, Indiana. Whatever they expected, the gunfight that followed wasn't what they expected. They thought it would be a quick hit, but as things escalated, bullets flew, killing Kil Carter in the chaos. Carter's cousin also was hurt, and Carter was hit by stray bullets, turning the entire scene into a... When the police finally pieced everything together, they presented a serious case against Just Blow. The court found that he was the one who pulled the trigger, firing at Kil with an assault rifle. The charges were serious murder, murder in the act of robbery, aggravated battery, and criminal confinement could all result in decades in prison. Just Blow was facing a potential life sentence, but he wasn't taking it quietly. He took to social media. The stakes were so high that it seemed like everyone in the case had a story to tell, and not all of them were lined up. Then came the legal chess moves. Haynes, one of Just Blow's co-defendants, struck a deal and pleaded guilty to a robbery charge, which carried a lighter sentence. The media was trying to correct the record and create cases based on lies and snitches, so he posted to let his followers know he wasn't backing down. The judge's 18-year prison sentence was a huge blow to a man who had been establishing himself and rising in the Chicago drill music scene for just under 600 years. Those years ahead mean lost time, a lost future in music, and possibly even the end of his career. It was evident that Just Blow was now bearing the full weight of the case, along with Tyler, his other co-defendant. Both of them were still facing serious charges, and prosecutors weren't backing down. There is a rising R&B star named Marie, whose life took a surprising turn when she ended up in a messy situation. If you don't know her, she's best known for her 2018 hit song, Secret. However, this story isn't about her music, rather it's about an incident that happened in December 2020 that landed her in serious trouble and completely upended her life. It happened at the Intercontinental Buckhead Hotel in Atlanta, where Marie was staying with a close childhood friend from Chicago. The gun they had with them allegedly fell off a table and went off, tragically hitting him in the forehead and seriously injuring him. According to Marie, a freak accident occurred while they were just hanging out in the hotel room. She was in a panic, but she was able to call 911, and in that desperate moment, her emotions were all over the place. You could hear her begging for help, repeating that it was all a terrible accident by the time the police arrived. When they arrived, there was chaos and Marie was sobbing uncontrollably, but oddly, they noticed that she wasn't actually crying. They discovered Wright lying on the bed with a gunshot wound to his head and a pool of blood by the door. He was taken to the hospital and fortunately survived, but for Annery, the legal storm was just getting started after she was arrested on charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and possession of a firearm during a felony. These were serious charges, and she was facing the possibility of serious jail time, but she was able to post a $6,000 bond and was freed. However, her freedom came with conditions. She was placed under house arrest, barred from contacting Wright or his family, required to wear an ankle monitor, and could only leave the house for work, even then requiring special permission. What's even more intriguing about this whole situation is that Annery had a connection to Lil Durk back in 2016. Durk shared a photo of her on his social media, introducing her as the newest female artist in the music industry. At the time, and she even referred to herself as the official first lady of OTF, but it turns out that she never signed with anyone other than the family OTF. In a subsequent interview, she explained that they were close to closing the deal, but it fell through, saying that there was no drama or animosity because Durk was very busy with his own career and she was still figuring out her path after the deal didn't happen. Annery concentrated on building her solo career and saw great success, garnering millions of views on her songs and building a devoted fan base. However, just as her career was taking off, the incident at the hotel changed everything. Despite having her music put on hold, she was able to avoid further trouble and maintain a low profile while awaiting her trial. So where does that leave her? Marie is under house arrest and unable to fully live her life as a rising artist. Let's now dive into a Chicago rapper and another member of Lil Durk's Only Family OTF crew, who's Muwop, who was born Marcus Smart, is currently facing serious charges connected to a high-profile murder case. Here's what happened on a Wednesday morning. Federal authorities arrived in Chicago's infamous Parkway Gardens, also known as O Block, prepared to make some significant arrests. This was where Muwop and a number of other suspected gang members were staying. They weren't there for a simple pickup. Instead, the feds were charging Muwop and 4 others in the 2020 murder of FBG Duck was part of a racketeering conspiracy linked to a series of violent incidents. But first, let me explain why. FBG Duck, whose real name was Carlton Weekly, was a well-known member of Chicago's Gangster Disciples, and his gang was embroiled in a heated argument with the Black Disciples Muse crew. On a hot summer day in 2020, FBG Duck was outside a designer clothing store in the affluent Gold Coast area of Chicago when 2 cars pulled up in front of a crowd. Suddenly, a gunman ran out, spraying. The feds didn't mess around with this case. By October 13, 2020, they had raided O Block and arrested 5 men connected to the murder of the FBG Duck, with Muwop as one of them. In addition to the murder charges, they were also charged with racketeering, unlawful firearms use, and assault with dangerous weapons. CCTV footage later showed the gunmen jumping back into their black car, which, along with a gray Chrysler involved in the shooting, sped away from the scene. Some initially believed that King Val, another O Block legend who had tragically died in 2020, might have ordered the hit on FBG Duck and even paid off the shooters to make it happen. However, Duck's affiliate FBG Butter spoke out and refuted this theory, saying it didn't make sense and that he didn't think V had funded the hit, implying that someone else with deep pockets, possibly Lil Durk himself, was involved. FBG Butter also pointed out that the arrest footage of Muwop was oddly missing, which made him surmise that Muwop and another defendant, C-May, were picked up by the feds at a private hangar as if someone with a lot of money had planned it. This is where things get complicated, because by the time these arrests took place, King Val was already dead, leaving only a small number of people in their circle with the money to book private jet travel. FBG Butter didn't hesitate to ask who was paying for these private flights, and the boys snatched at the airport a private hangar. V is dead, so how are they paying for a jet? Though facing a life sentence, Muwop seemed confident and even messaged a family member from custody saying he would be home soon and that he was keeping his head held high. This is a bold claim given the conviction and the lengthy sentence ahead, but he seemed determined to keep hope alive. Not all of Lil Durk's affiliate stories are depressing. One such example is the recent story of Doody Lo. OTF rapper Doody Lo, who is an affiliate of Lil Durk. However, no concrete evidence has confirmed these theories. Won a significant court victory on February 28, 2023, when a Broward County court in Florida granted him substantial $1 million in his defamation lawsuit against his ex-girlfriend, FTNBA, born Brittany Elder. The issue started in October 2021 when FTNBA claimed that Doody had abused her young son, who was then only 5 years old. She took to social media to share an audio recording of her son sobbing and allegedly narrating the incident, claiming that the injuries were so severe that her son had to be placed back in diapers because of incontinence. Doody Lo, whose real name is David Salisbury, initially strongly denied the accusations, claiming they were false. He even made public footage that seemed to show FTNBA coaching her son to blame him, which seriously questioned her claims. In the video, she was purportedly heard telling the child not to blame the incident on Alex, a 3-year-old boy who was later implicated as a potential cause of the injuries. "We can't lie to Alex, okay, because if she didn't do it, we can't say." Doody Lo had had enough and filed a defamation lawsuit against FTNBA in December 2021, claiming that she had harassed him and his family relentlessly after their breakup and that she did it because it's really, really bad. He claimed that her accusations had caused him considerable emotional distress and serious reputational damage, costing him opportunities and income. However, things took an unexpected turn in early 2022 when FTNBA publicly apologized. Doody, in a heartfelt video, she acknowledged that he had passed a lie detector test and claimed she never meant to destroy his career. However, days later, she changed her story once more, saying she had been coerced and threatened into apologizing. This back and forth only made the public more confused, with many now doubting FTNBA's credibility. In February 2022, FTNBA was arrested for stalking and harassing Doody Lo, allegedly in violation of a restraining order that had been placed against her. The legal battle came to a head. Doody Lo hasn't been the only OTF affiliate to be plagued by rumors. Another affiliate's name has been circulating in the streets for allegedly switching sides and turning informant. When the court ruled in Doody's favor in February 2023, awarding him $1 million, he celebrated his victory on Instagram and expressed relief, saying it was a long, stressful journey, but he stayed strong through the backlash and lies. When he was imprisoned for 12 years on attempted murder charges, Durk made sure he was taken care of by paying for his legal fees and helping with his family, even setting him up with a car, a house, and $50,000. When he was released, their bond seemed unbreakable, but rumors started to circulate that Jan had broken this loyalty and started working with the feds, even wearing a wire to gather intelligence on OTF. Of course, I was straight all along. Jam has been a constant in Lil Durk's life and the OTF family. And Durk himself. This isn't just idle talk, though it's claimed that Durk discovered that Jam was wiretapped and had his baby mother, Octavia Redmond, targeted to send a message. Redmond was a postal worker who was shot dead by a 15-year-old boy on July 19, 2024. While delivering mail in South Chicago, she was later identified as Jam's child's mother, leading to rumors that Durk had her killed out of vengeance. Following Octavia's death, law enforcement began a serious manhunt. A few months after the inspection service offered a sizable reward for information, they apprehended the teenage suspect in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, but authorities haven't connected her murder to Durk or OTF, leaving more questions than answers. Jam's predicament even reaches wilder, with street insiders asserting that his motivation for cooperating was not fear but frustration. When Jam was recently locked up again, Durk allegedly failed to provide bond money or legal assistance despite their years of. There are 3 unnamed co-conspirators in the case, according to DJ Vlad, who booked flights, one of the 3 shooters, and another who tipped off OTF about Quando Rondo's location. Brotherhood, according to some, left Jam resentful, and when the feds came calling, he saw it as his only option. However, things have been getting worse quickly, with reports circulating that other OTF members are furious over the alleged betrayal and ambushed Jam brutally beat him as a warning. Did Jam betray Durk, or is this just another plot twist in the volatile world of OTF Rondo number 9? Clint Massey was a young Chicago rapper with big dreams coming up alongside Lil Durk and the OTF crew, but in February 2014, everything took a dark turn on a winter night in the neighborhood of Wentworth Gardens, Jitney. These informants, or has he just been made a scapegoat, with the internet spinning theories that make it difficult to separate fact from fiction? It was just another work night when he happened to run into Rondo and a group of people, including fellow rapper K.I., who approached his car and allegedly asked Boyd if he was from the area. Tragically, senseless gunfire broke out and Boyd was hit multiple times. He was taken to the hospital but died 2 hours later. It didn't take long for the police to arrive, and witnesses recognized Rondo at the scene at the age of just 17. He was arrested and charged. Rondo's life and career were abruptly put on hold when he was sentenced to 39 years in prison for first-degree murder and 38 years for CDI in 2016. Both young rappers were facing decades behind bars. For these OTF members, life comes and goes, and prison sentences are just another day. With so much loss all around them, one can only wonder how they continue until the next time. For more exciting content, watch our videos on our website. King Von was Chicago's rising star straight out of OBL, a place known for producing some of the most authentic voices in drill music. He was only 26 years old, but V's storytelling was believable. IME seemed to follow Lil Durk's crew, but don't take my word for it. From the death of his own brother to his own blood allegedly snitching on him to several members on the run, it seems like everything is happening to the OTF crew. Von's life took a tragic turn on November 6, 2020, when he was out at a club in Atlanta when things escalated with rapper Quando Rondo's crew. What began as an argument turned into a full-on shootout, shots rang out, and when the smoke cleared, King Val was killed. Von's music was so real that it immediately connected with people. He had this raw energy and a talent for turning street life and pain into something poetic. His first album, Welcome to Our Block, put him on the verge of greatness. The news was devastating, but his friends couldn't simply move on from V's death, especially not his mentor and close friend Lil Durk. Durk had signed V to his label, Only the Family OTF, and they had always been close, almost like brothers. When Von's life was taken, rumors began to circulate that Durk and his OTF crew wanted retribution, and this is where the drama really starts. 2 years after Von's death, Durk's name is in the news once more, but not for his music the feds have him on. Prosecutors have serious charges that he placed a bounty on Quando Rondo's head in a revenge plot for what happened to V and PS Von. They say this wasn't just talk. They have witness credit card records and an FBI agent's affidavit stating that Durk and 5 other OTF members plan to pursue Quando. Now let's look at what happened in 2022. Those 5 guys allegedly traveled to LA with a deadly plan, but they didn't end up getting Quando. Instead, they ended up getting Q's cousin Lob. Was killed in a car that was intended for him. Durk and those 5 OTF members are now being charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire, and the feds say they used machine guns in the attempt. As if the situation wasn't already intense, Quero released a song over the weekend called Life Goes On, in which he is haunted by the loss and raps lines like "I never thought I'd see your name next to R" on social media. He also posted a message on social media saying though he didn't specifically mention Durk or OTF, he did pray for everyone and forgive those with whom he had a falling out. V's death and the tension that followed didn't end with him. It's been more than 2 years, but the scars are still there, and the fallout from that night in Atlanta continues to spiral for V's friends in the industry. It's evident that even though his music endures, the ghost of that night continues to haunt everyone involved, and death seems to come for them, just as it did for Lil Durk's brother D. The scene was chaotic on that June night outside Club O, a strip club in South suburban Harvey. According to reports, there were multiple gunshots with weapons going off from different directions, and Dang, 32, was caught in the crossfire and fatally shot in the head while a member of his circle was killed.